Just concentrating on getting in the block, staying relaxed, and making it to the finish line before anyone else did.
Florence Griffith Joyner, or Flo Jo, was the fastest woman in history, famous for her unbroken records in both the 100 meters and 200 meters. Her sudden death at the age of 38 shocked fans around the world and sparked much speculation about her life and death. What are these speculations? Are they true? Read on to find out the truth. But first, let's take a quick look at Florence's life to get a better idea of the mixed experiences that surrounded her. She was born in Los Angeles on December 21, 1959, the seventh of 11 children. Florence Griffith Joyner, known as Dee Dee to her closest friends and family. Florence was the family seamstress, while Robert was an electrician. The Jordan Downs housing project in Los Angeles' notorious Watts neighborhood became Dee Dee and her siblings' new home when she was 6 years old, the result of her parents' divorce. No obstacle could dampen Dee Dee's indomitable spirit. While visiting her father in the California desert, she discovered her love for sprinting at the age of 7 while being largely raised by her mother. However, sports were only one aspect. Her other passion was fashion. She would make light of the fact that she needed to look good to play outside with her siblings, jokingly so. From the beginning, Griffith Joyner's looks and acting were inseparable. Dee Dee learned to be competitive from a young age thanks to her large family. Looking back, she realizes that she had a hard time playing with her siblings. She couldn't cry because they would knock her down. Should she cry, she would be demoted and not allowed to participate in any of their games. Style was another factor that contributed to the clash. When she was only 7 years old, she began experimenting with sewing. This was motivated by the fact that her brothers disapproved of the fact that she blended in too much with the boys. There are many additional skills that Dee Dee possesses in addition to her great taste. She competed in a wide variety of sports, including track and field, basketball and volleyball, and she became a member of the Sugar Ray Robinson Youth Foundation. Her natural talent could not be disputed in any way. Despite being just 14 and 15 years old at the time, she won the Jesse Owens National Youth Games Championship for 2 years in a row. In addition to being noted for her unique flair, she smashed records in the long jump and running while she was attending Jordan High School in Los Angeles. Her accomplishments there left an indelible mark on the whole community. It is well known that the renowned Flo Jo required her relay team to wear long tights in addition to their tracksuits of choice. Even though she was not yet a superstar, her 6th-place finish at the CIF state meet when she was a senior caught the attention of Bob Kersey, the coach at Cal State Northridge, and it was the moment that transformed her professional career. It was precisely at that time that Dee Dee began his journey from being a promising athlete to being a famous legend. Developing your capacity to win in 1978, Griffith Joyner finished secondary school and went on to spend a year at Cal State Northridge. During her time there, she was an active part of the track and field team, that won national titles under the direction of coach Bob Kersey. However, despite her achievements on the track, she was unable to continue her athletic career the next year due to financial difficulties. She put her aspirations of competing in the Olympics on wait in order to provide for her family and got a job as a bank teller. By 1980, Kersey had already taken on the post of assistant coach at UCLA, and she had also assisted Griffith Joyner in obtaining the financial assistance she needed in order to complete her studies. When she was just 20 years old, she came very close to making her first Olympic squad by finishing 4th in the final of the 200-meter race in the United States Olympic trials. Unfortunately, the United States of America chose not to participate in the 1980 Olympics, which delayed her opportunity to compete on the international stage. On the other hand, the difficulties did not come without some positive aspects. Her future husband, Al Joyner, was a triple jumper who was destined to win the gold medal in the 1984 Olympics. It was there that she met him. When Griffith Joyner was back at UCLA, he worked out with Al's sister, the renowned Jackie Joyner Kersey, who would go on to become one of the most decorated track and field athletes in the history of the sport. Even though Jackie Joyner Kersey's heptathlon world record is still in effect today, the Griffith Joyner Kersey family has become one of the most famous sports dynasties in the history of the United States. During the time that Al was competing for Arkansas State and admiring her from a distance, Griffith Joyner was honing her talents and gaining an understanding of what it takes to be successful at competitive levels. In the year 1982, she won the NCAA championship in the 200-meter dash with a time of 22.39 seconds. The following year, she won the championship in the 400-meter dash with a time of 50.94 seconds. UCLA was able to win consecutive national team championships with her assistance. In addition, Griffith Joyner received a degree in psychology and completed the 200-meter race at the 1983 World Championships, where she finished fourth. This demonstrated that she was prepared to compete on the international level. Griffith Joyner won silver in the 200-meter dash in 1984, her first Olympic competition, and the audience in her hometown of Los Angeles went wild. Even though she had just won an Olympic medal, track and field had not yet become the highly organized sport that it is now. She was compelled to enter a semi-retirement due to the scarcity of financial support. Flo Jo was a beautician and bank teller in addition to her schooling. She would stay up late, giving her pals elaborate manicures and braids for $45 to $200. The allure of the track was too great to resist by 1987, and Griffith Joyner returned to his rigorous training regimen. Her effort was rewarded upon her return. She proved she hadn't lost her edge that year by winning a silver medal in the 200 meters at the Rome World Championships. Even though she still placed 7th in the United States for the 100 meters, her strength lay in the 200 meters, where she was rated 2nd in the world. Her private life flourished alongside her professional one. Al Joyner proposed on July 17, 1987, and the wedding was scheduled for the following year. However, destiny intervened. Flo Jo was startled when the October 1st earthquake rocked Los Angeles. They abruptly altered their plans because she was afraid she would die before she was married. Flo Jo became a legal part of the first track and field family when they went to Sin City to tie the wedding on October 10, 1987. Griffith Joyner had been deftly juggling her training with 2 trainers leading up to the 1988 U.S. Olympic trials. Her husband Al, who was there 3 days a week, and her brother-in-law Bob Kersey, who was present twice a week. Her advancement was consistent, but none of it was earth-shattering. Despite the fact that she recorded a personal best of 10.96 seconds in the 100-meter dash in the Cologne Grand Prix in 1987, she was still not among the top 40 performers in the history of the sport. By June of 1988, she had made another improvement, running 10.89 in San Diego. Nonetheless, she continued to lag behind the legendary Evelyn Ashford, who held the record for the American record. She finished in 10.99 seconds in a tune-up race that took place a week before the trials, which was a decent performance, but there was nothing that hinted at what was to follow. Following that, the United States Olympic trials were held, and Griffith Joyner stunned the entire world. She broke the world mark for the 100-meter dash by 0.27 seconds, which had been held by Ashford, thanks to her incredible performance in the quarterfinal race, in which she ran the race in a staggering 10.49 seconds. All of her rivals and people all over the world were in awe of her accomplishment since it was the biggest margin by which the record had ever been beaten. Still, she had not finished. During the trials, Flo Jo achieved 3 of the fastest times in the history of the 100-meter dash: 10.49 seconds in the quarterfinal, 10.70 seconds in the semi-final, and 10.61 seconds in the final. Just in case that wasn't enough, she also broke the American record for the 200-meter dash with a time of 21.77 seconds, which was a blazing performance. After those 2 days, Griffith Joyner had revolutionized the women's sprinting competition and was now well positioned to become the most prominent figure in the 1988 Olympic Games. It is still the case that Griffith Joyner's 10.49-second 100-meter world mark, which he established at the 1988 United States Olympic trials, is the greatest improvement in the history of world records since electronic timing was introduced. The validity of the result, on the other hand, has been called into doubt for a considerable amount of time due to the fact that the wind gauge registered a value of 0.0 meters per second, which is an unusually tranquil measurement considering the fact that the conditions on that day were obviously windy. Many people are of the impression that a technical fault may have taken place because wind speeds were measured as being high in other sprint events, as well as on the long jump runway that was close to the sprint events. When Flo Jo established her record, there was probably an unlawful tailwind of 5 to 7 meters per second, according to scientific investigations that were later commissioned by both the International Association of Aeronautics and Astronautics, IAAF, and independent groups. Despite this, the International Athletics Association of America has never disqualified the feat. However, the International Athletics Annual has subsequently acknowledged that it was most likely significantly aided by the wind, but it continues to acknowledge it as the official world record. Despite this, Flo Jo's 10.61-second sprint in the final, the following day in which there was no hindrance from the wind, is still considered to be one of the fastest legal times in the history of the sport. In the final of the 100-meter race at the 2020 Olympics, Jamaica's Elaine Thompson-Hara tied this record, which had previously held alone until that point. Just 1 month later, Thompson-Hara broke through with a time of 10.54 seconds in the Eugene Diamond League event. This time secured the second fastest time ever recorded in the history of the women's 100-meter race, just below the renowned mark set by Flo Jo. Towards the end of July 1988, shortly after the Olympic trials, Griffith Joyner severed her relationship with coach Bob Kersey to get a greater degree of individual attention about her training. She was additionally upset by the fact that she did not have any endorsement or sponsorship relationships. However, because Bob Kersey, who not only coached but also managed his athletes, demanded that they make use of his management services, Flo Jo was left with the impression that she had no options. As a result of her signing with personal manager Gordon Baskin, she had to switch coaches as well. She left UCLA and shifted her training to UC Irvine, where her husband Al is now working as her full-time coach. She made this decision after she left UCLA. By that time, she was already well known all over the globe by the name of Flo Jo, and she came to the Summer Olympics in 1988 as the undisputed favorite in the sprints competition. In no way did she let us down. She dominated the competition with a run of 10.54 seconds in the 100-meter final, which allowed her to win by a full 0.30 seconds over Evelyn Ashford, who had previously held the world record for the event. In the semi-final of the 200-meter race, Flo Jo established a world record with a time of 21.56 seconds. However, in the final, she broke her record with a time of 21.34 seconds, which was an astounding time. This mark for the 200-meter race is still in effect today, much as her record for the 100-meter race. Flo Jo is not yet finished. She contributed to the United States team's victory in the 4x100-meter relay and secured a silver medal in the 4x400-meter relay, which was her first race in that event that was graded globally. Both of these accomplishments added to her legacy. Griffith Joyner was the second most decorated female track and field athlete at the time, following only Fanny Blankers-Cohen, who had won 4 gold medals in 1948. By the time the 1988 Olympics came to a close, Griffith Joyner had won 4 Olympic medals, 3 of which were gold and 1 of which was silver. When she announced that she was retiring from racing in February 1989, when she was at the pinnacle of her stardom, Griffith Joyner surprised the entire world. Through her explanation, she stated that she desired to concentrate on new business opportunities in addition to sprinting. Flo Jo was presented with the coveted James E. Sullivan Award around 1 month after she had retired from the track. This award was given to her in recognition of her status as the best amateur athlete in the United States for the year 1988. A return in addition to other activities. After her spectacular victory at the Olympics, in which she won 3 gold medals and 1 silver medal, while also establishing world records in the 100-meter and 200-meter races, Griffith Joyner became a phenomenon all over the world. In the weeks that followed her triumph at the Olympics, she took use of her newly acquired reputation to score rich endorsement agreements, notably in Japan, where her popularity exploded. She became a marketable icon in the world of athletics as a result of her sponsorships, which ultimately resulted in the accumulation of millions of dollars. However, the effect of Flo Jo stretched well beyond the realm of athletics. She made her debut in the toy market by negotiating a contract with LJN Toys to design a doll that was akin to Barbie and reflected her unique style. The doll would have long, multicolored nails and her famous one-legged racing costume. That was not the end of her creative abilities. Her passion for fashion and her expertise in sports were brought together in 1989 when she designed the basketball jerseys for the Indiana Pacers. This was a great way for her to demonstrate her artistic talent. The arrival of joy into her life occurred on November 13, 1990, when she gave birth to Mary, her only child. Young Mary embraced her mother's creative energy by participating in gymnastics and demonstrating a tremendous gift for singing. This was a goal that Flo Jo had always had, and younger Mary was able to fulfill it. In addition, Griffith Joyner dabbled in the entertainment industry by appearing as a guest on several well-known television series. Her portrayal of herself in a famous episode of the comedy 227 was one of the most notable roles she has ever played. In 1992, she had an appearance on the soap opera Santa Barbara, playing the role of Terry Holloway, a character that bore a remarkable similarity to Annie Leibovitz, a well-known photographer. Griffith Joyner has made significant contributions to the fields of public health and fitness, in addition to her endeavors in the business and entertainment industries. During her tenure as co-chair of the President's Council on Physical Fitness, which lasted from 1993 to 1998, she was a fervent advocate for the promotion of healthy living and physical activity across the country. In the year 1996, when appearing on Charlie Rose, Flo Jo announced that she was planning to make a comeback to competitive sports, with a particular emphasis on the 400-meter run. In addition to having previously achieved world records in the 100 and 200 meters, she now has her sights set on breaking the record for the 400 meters as her next objective. Before the United States Olympic trials in June, she put in a lot of work in the gym, getting herself ready to establish a name for herself once more. On the other hand, she was unable to achieve her goals because she suffered from tendinitis in her right leg. This prevented her from achieving her goal of being the holder of 3 world records. Influence and fashion sense. The Flo Jo reimagined what it meant to be a woman in the world of athletics by achieving achievements on the track that had never been seen before and continue to be unrivaled to this day. She surpassed all other women in the globe in terms of speed. Her speed, however, was not the only thing that drew people's notice. Undeniably, it was her sense of style. She brought a sense of glitz and glamour to the track by wearing a full face of makeup, long flowing hair, acrylic nails measuring 6.5 inches, and self-designed race uniforms that featured asymmetrical, one-legged bodysuits with lace details and colorful color-blocked bikini bottoms. Both on and off the field, Joyner's impact continues to serve as a source of motivation for sportsmen all around the world. The phrase, "dress good to look good to feel good, and feel good to run fast," served as her credo throughout her whole career. It defined her mindset precisely. Joyner had a flair for fashion that made her a distinctive figure in the world of athletics. Her nails were so eye-catching that they caught everyone's attention, and she also had a fun way of manipulating the fabric of her jersey. In the course of her collaboration with Adidas, she deftly combined the worlds of fashion and sports, demonstrating how the two categories can harmoniously coexist. She sparkled in a variety of ensembles that were fashioned from delicate materials, including lace, during the Olympic trials that took place in Indianapolis in August of 1988. She donned a bodysuit that included transparent lace trimming throughout the chest and legs, which added a touch of femininity to the realm of track and field, which is generally known for its utilitarian nature. Not only did Flo Jo shatter records, but she also broke barriers, therefore opening the way for future generations of athletes to express themselves not just on the track, but also in their unique manner. Despite the fact that Joyner was wearing items that were more conventional, she never failed to come up with inventive methods to include her own unique style. During the women's 200-meter event at the Olympic trials in 1988, she created a splash by wearing a tracksuit that had an asymmetrical one-leg design. She lovingly referred to this design as the one-legger. The style that became linked with her one-of-a-kind flair was her hallmark look, which was frequently dressed in vivid hues. Joyner was also well known for her exquisite acrylic nails, which were frequently carefully crafted and covered with brilliant colors and ornaments that made her stand out on the track. The length of her nails, which normally varied from 4 to 6 inches, contributed still another dimension of distinctiveness to her athletic demeanor. During the 2021 Australian Open, 23-time Grand Slam winner Serena Williams teamed with Nike to design a one-of-a-kind tennis jersey that pays respect to Flo Jo and her famed one-leggers. This is a fantastic example of the effect that Joyner has had in the world of sports and fashion. Williams was seen wearing an asymmetrical bodysuit in stunning shades of black, scarlet, and pink. These colorways were evocative of the forms and patterns that Joyner pioneered in the 1980s. At the same time, Sha'Carri Richardson, a track and field standout who will compete in the Olympics in 2024, fuses Flo Jo's enthusiasm with her striking flair. Richardson, who is well known for her attention-grabbing hair and long nails that are covered with decorations, continues to pay tribute to Joyner's legacy. At the Olympic Games held in Paris in 2024, she further solidified Flo Jo's lasting impact on a new generation of athletes by winning a silver medal in the 100-meter event. This achievement set her apart from other athletes. When Florence Griffith Joyner arrived at the Olympic Games in Seoul, she was the subject of intense scrutiny and suspicion due to the fact that she had broken records at the United States Olympic trials in 1988. There were athletes who publicly questioned how Joyner could have achieved such a significant improvement in performance in such a short period of time. These athletes included Joachim Cruz and Ben Johnson. Her fastest speed in the 100-meter sprint was 10.96 seconds just 1 year before, but in 1988, she improved that record by an astounding 0.47 seconds more than she had previously achieved. In a similar vein, her previous best time for the 200-meter dash was 21.96 seconds, which she then improved by an astonishing 0.62 seconds to reach 21.34 seconds, a record that has not been surpassed to this day. Even though many people continued to be dubious, Joyner credited her change to new health regimens. The training program that she was following switched to concentrate a greater emphasis on lower body strength exercises such as squats and lunges. This change was made possible by her husband, Al Joyner, who took over as her coach from Bob Kersey. As the investigation continued, a narrative from 1989 came to light in which Darryl Robinson, a former teammate, said that he had sold Joyner 10 milliliters of growth hormone for a total of $2,000 in the year 1988. In his statement, he said that Joyner had stated that to make $1 million, one must invest a few $1,000s. Robinson further said that he had gotten steroids from coach Bob Kersey and that he had observed Carl Lewis injecting himself with what he assumed to be testosterone. Both of these allegations were made by Robinson. The charges that were made against Joyner cast a lengthy shadow over his accomplishments and contributed to the current discussion around the use of performance-enhancing substances in athletics. Robinson never presented any proof to back up his claims, and as a result, he was shunned by the sports world, which eventually resulted in the premature termination of his career. Soon after the Olympic Games in 1988, Griffith Joyner decided to retire from competitive track and field. This decision was made just 1 year before the introduction of obligatory random drug testing in 1989. She was put through a number of tests during contests throughout the course of her career, and she was successful in every single one of them. After some time had passed, Prince Alexander de Merode, who was the chair of the medical committee of the International Olympic Committee, disclosed that Griffith Joyner was put to further stringent drug testing at the 1988 Olympic Games. In an interview with the New York Times, Prince Alexander revealed that a prominent authority on the use of drugs in sports examined her samples and discovered that they did not contain any prohibited substances. The International Olympic Committee and Prince Alexander lost control of the drug testing process once the World Anti-Doping Agency was established in the 1990s. The point that he made was that we carried out every conceivable and conceivable analysis of her. Nothing was ever discovered by us. There is not the tiniest bit of mistrust that should exist. It was a tragic death in a terrible turn of events. Florence Griffith Joyner's life was cut short when she passed away suddenly on September 21, 1998, when she was 38 years old. In addition to being startling, the circumstances surrounding her passing were also extremely upsetting. Her death occurred peacefully in the comfort of her own home in Mission Viejo, California. Despite Florence Griffith Joyner's dedication to leading a healthy lifestyle and engaging in strenuous physical activity, several theories have surfaced concerning her unexpected passing, implying that her death was caused by unnatural or human-induced factors. An autopsy was performed to ascertain the actual reason for her death, which was done to put an end to these myths. According to the findings of the autopsy that was carried out by the Orange County Coroner's Office, she died as a result of suffocation that occurred during an epileptic episode. Cavernous hemangioma is a congenital vascular brain anomaly that has been related to this seizure. Cavernous hemangioma is a disorder that can cause blood to amass outside of normal blood arteries in the brain and spinal tissue. This extremely uncommon illness, which affects roughly 0.25% of the population, most definitely played a role in the seizures that she endured in the years preceding her passing. Furthermore, the inquiry into her death was complicated by additional conjecture and hearsay. Some news organizations indicated that difficulties resulting from the use of performance-enhancing medications could have been a role, which was a subject that had dogged her throughout her performing career. Even though she had never failed a drug test, Griffith Joyner was often accused of using, notably because of the spectacular performances she gave in 1988. The inquiry conducted by the coroner, on the other hand, determined that her death was not caused by drug use, and there was insufficient evidence to substantiate the assertions that were made. Her husband, Al Joyner, highlighted her dedication to clean sport by noting that she passed the most rigorous drug test they could provide. An extra layer of supposition was added to her account as a result of the circumstances surrounding her passing, including the positional hypoxia that took place during the seizure. By turning her head in such a way that blocked her airway, it was concluded that she had suffocated as a result of the inability to breathe. A life that had made an indelible impression on athletics and popular culture was cut short in an unexpected and early manner as a result of the tragic mix of her underlying health condition and the circumstances surrounding her seizure. A legacy she was popularly known as Flo Jo, Florence Griffith Joyner, and she left an indelible effect on the world of sports as well as popular culture. Her legacy continues to inspire and enchant people all across the world, despite the fact that her life was cut brutally short at the age of 38. The athletic accomplishments carried out by Griffith Joyner were quite remarkable. The world records that she established have not been surpassed to this day. She brought women's track and field to new heights with her bright style, which was marked by long fingernails and eye-catching running clothes. Her style attracted the attention of people all over the world. In 1995, Griffith Joyner was honored with induction into the USA Track and Field Hall of Fame in appreciation of the significant achievements she had made in the realm of athletics. In recognition of her early roots, the 102nd Street School in Los Angeles was renamed Florence Griffith Joyner Elementary School by the City of Los Angeles Municipality. In addition, a park in Mission Viejo was named after her and devoted to remembering her. Her abilities went well beyond the realm of athletics. In addition to being a skilled painter, her works are included in the Art of the Olympians, AOTO. Times Woman of the Year for 1988 was an accolade she received in 2020, recognizing her impact as one of the most influential women of the last century. Also determined to have Griffith Joyner's remarkable accomplishments acknowledged is her family. Her daughter Mary dabbled in track when she was little and went on to have a successful music career, which included a 2012 appearance on America's Got Talent. In 2023, Mary published a documentary on her mother called Flo Jo, A Daughter's Love. And she also started a company called Flo Jo Forever to continue her mother's legacy. On top of that, she's a gymnastics teacher. Griffith Joyner's reputation is unblemished, even though her career was occasionally dogged by controversy and accusations. She personifies the American ideal and remains an icon of greatness and motivation. She left an indelible mark on the sporting world and beyond, and her record-setting accomplishments are proof of that. What do you think about the speculation surrounding her death? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. We would love to hear from you. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more interesting updates. Thank you and see you in the next video.